alive? He's alive. Well, it looks like I'm on. Nothing's exploding. Can you hear me meow? Okay, so I guess I'm going. Hey everybody. Oh, Dave Rush, thank you so much. You have no idea. Simply typing in sound is good makes me so very, very happy. Dave, when you die, you will achieve full consciousness. I just want you to know you got that going for you. Okay, so hey everybody. Hi, my name is Mike Meyers, and this is my Monday, Wednesday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time live stream, Ask Mike Anything. The goal of this live stream is to provide those of us who are isolated because of the coronavirus an opportunity to talk to each other and to continue our studies. We concentrate here on the CompTIA I'm sorry, Scott, A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus. And we can also go outside of that, of course, but that's kind of where we stay in our lane more than anything else. And so remember, the goal of this is that you have to ask me anything. So that's what this all lives on. So we've got our live chat here, and the goal of this is that you go ahead and you type in questions that you might have, and then we will answer those questions for you. If I can't get them, I got Scott Jernigan, I got Dave Rush, and a cast of thousands of folks who are more than glad to help out in terms of answering questions. Sir, I want to move Cloud Engineer. Pawan, you may move Cloud Engineer. I'm being a Smileck today. I'm in a good mood. Anyway, so we do have a few topics we're going to be talking about today. I've got a couple of questions that had come up. One about partitions. We'll talk about partitioning. We got another question about sharing folders on a Windows network. We can do that. Then I also said we're going to talk about how to get a job in IT. And you know, if you're looking for some great mystery that I'm going to solve for you with this, that's not what this is about. But we are going to kind of walk through some details and what I think a lot of people make mistakes on when they are trying to find a job in the world of IT. This is going to be very much a overview, unlike those of you guys who sat in last month when we had Jessica Dickerson on how to get an entry-level job in IT security. Will be a little bit broader than that. Then the other thing we're going to be talking about today is how to hang your own shingle, how to become self-employed, which I've been self-employed for a very, very long time. I decided to become self-employed because I'm such a jerk that I could never actually work for another human being. I tried it a few times. I was terrible, just absolutely terrible. So anyway, let's see how everything's going here. Also, the IT fundamentals. Gosh, Scott, I am so sorry. Scott Jernigan writes our IT fundamentals products, and I just sit there and go, we do A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, because I forgot IT fundamentals. Anyway, just because you guys were kind enough to show up here today, we have specials for you. This week, our AMA special deals are 50% off all of our A+ and Net Plus super bundles and the Security Plus video and Total Tester bundle. So the code this week is Live Labor Day, and all you have to do is go over to www.totalsem.com, check out one of our super bundles or the combined Security Plus video and Total Tester bundle, and you get 50% off, which is absolutely incredible and amazing deal. So again, the goal of this AMA is for you to ask me questions. So all you have to do is type them into the live chat. However, sometimes people have more detailed questions, or they're shy or nervous or whatever it is, and that's fine. So all you need to do is contact me. And you can contact me. There's my email address, michaelm@totalsem.com. That's the best way to send me questions, especially if they're more complicated ones. The phone number, which I'm leaving in there, and I don't know why I've left it in there 5 months, and you really have a hard time calling me. If it's a real emergency, you can call that number, but they screen it aggressively. If you're a gamer, my Steam account is Senor Pepe, and always welcome to jump in. I'm not playing a lot of games these days, but Team Fortress 2 is always in my want-to-do group. Also, I could probably be talked into World of Tanks. Those would probably be the two easier games. If you've got a game you absolutely love, like you're just completely addicted to, you could probably talk me into buying it, but those would be the big ones. Okay, and last is my nom de plume is Desweds, Desweds. I'm Desweds at just about everything. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always just type in Desweds, and guess what? You already know my Gmail account, right? There you go. All right, so let's see who is Crusader Kings 3. Scott Jernigan and like 3 people in Bolivia are like the only people who like playing Crusader Kings. That's good coffee. Yeah, good coffee. All right. So I'm just going to run through some questions here real quick, see what we got. First, you take the cattle to the killing floor. Hello, boys. Dr. Quinn, long time no see. Wie geht's, Schatzi? Web Dev Bootcamp is back. Brendan S. Pawan Pandy. Pawan, you say, I want to move cloud engineer. I don't know what that means. I am glad to answer that question for you, but my main focus about cloud engineer, please guide. So, Pawan, what kind of education do you have? What kind of experience do you have? Here, Pawan, do me a favor. Pawan, send me an email, okay? Send an email to michaelm@totalsem.com. All right, I'm going to leave that there a minute just for Pawan. Pawan, write this down. Write her down. Write it down. michaelm@totalsem.com. Pawan, send me an email and we can discuss in more detail. Whew. You know, I don't yawn all day, and then I start talking to you guys, and for some reason it makes me yawn. I don't understand. I also don't scratch my nose all day until suddenly I get on these AMAs, and it's like, it's because God has a sense of humor, people. Taylor Brook, excelente. All right. Kevin Lopez, do you know a reliable way to power a cluster of Raspberry Pis from one wire? I don't know. My quick guess would be, is since Raspberry Pis run off of USB, that it would be, when you say one wire, do you actually mean one little piece of copper wire? Or you're talking about one duplex plug? If that's a duplex plug, you can plug into the wall, then you can just use a extension cord and put all your different USB connections on there. But I'll tell you what, Dave Rush, you see that one. I'm telling you, Kevin, why don't we save that one for Friday when Dave Rush comes on with his Raspberry Pi. Dave, do you see that question? That's all, it's in your thing. Web Dev Bootcamp. Hi, Mike. Is there anything on your A+ book where you discuss domain workgroup and Windows 10? Mind telling us a little bit about these? Yeah. I mean, we certainly discuss the difference between workgroups versus domain in Windows 10. I mean, or Windows 8 or Windows 7, workgroups and domains or workgroups and domains. Sure. We can talk about that. Tell you what, Scott Jernigan, help me remember. I want to cover some of the other topics. Web Dev, bear with me. I thought we had a really good discussion on this a couple of months ago. We'll see if Dave has an answer on that. But if not, we're always glad to, we can do it. Eric Crenshaw, currently studying your Network Plus. I appreciate your work. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. Cindy Anstey is back. Yay. Hey, Cindy. Good to see you, man. And, any tips on passing the exam? Study hard. Use my training materials. That's it. I've met very few people who use my book, my video, and my practice questions who don't pass on the first time. I know they're there, but they're pretty rare. Most of the time when somebody gets in contact with me and they go, I failed, I'll ask them, I'll go, well, what did you do? Well, I was on Udemy. Okay, good videos on Udemy. What were you using for practice questions? Well, I didn't use any practice questions. Yeah, okay, that might be the problem there. Remember, the secret to passing any certification, not just Mike Myers, but any certification, is good book, good video, good practice questions. That's the 3 things that are always going to be in your best interest to get a hold of. Can you do it without a book? Well, sure, I guess. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. Well, can I do it without videos? Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. Get the idea? So for me, it's those 3 things. It's like, Mike, you're just trying to get more money. No, I'm not trying to get more money. It's what people need. LBOE is here. Oh, Deepak, I'm going to have to call you Web Dev Bootcamp because I'll never remember your name. If you want to change it on your chat, on your YouTube, but otherwise you're Web Dev Bootcamp like forever. Choco Taco, I know you play a lot of Age of Empires too. I do. I actually do play a lot of Age of Empires. The problem is I'm so slow. I don't have those fast twitch muscles that young people just mop the floor with me on Age of Empires. Plus, you guys get upset when I type in things like cheesesteak Jimmy's. You'd have to know Age of Empires to know why that's funny. Cheat code. Patricia Grace. I got my network book. I got my Network Plus Divertile. Good online service. Many thanks. You're welcome. Oz Curd. Any giveaways? Sure, we'll have some giveaways today, Oz Curd. Walid H. Hi, Mike. I'm in Process Co. In Process, Colorado? I don't know. Walid, I'm not sure what you're asking me, my brother. Can a Raspberry Pi run a VM, specifically an 8 gigabyte one? Dave Rush, it's all on you, man. I don't know the answer to that one. VWBAJNINIJA. Thanks, Mike. Thank you for what you do. Thank you, man. Afshin Goal. Hello, Michael. Hello, Afshin. Greg Davis. Hey, Greg. Eric Crenshaw. Is the A+ necessary when seeking a career in ethical hacking? No certifications are required. Eric, none. There's no legal list of jobs versus the certifications you must have. No certification is always ever going to get you a job. The only thing a certification does is get your name on top of a list or gets you through human resources. If you be very careful, and I'm not saying this is you, Eric, I'm not saying this is you, but I get a lot of people online, they're like, well, I have to get all these certifications and then I'll get a job. It's like, nah, that's not how it works. Start with some little bogus entry-level job working at Best Buy. You get a few certs and you get a little bit better job, then a little bit better job. But for ethical hacking, so what you want to be is you want to be a pen tester or a vulnerability assessment person is really what you're saying. I think that going from Net Plus to Security Plus and then Pen Test Plus, Eric, will probably be all you need. A Plus is a cool certification, don't get me wrong, but it really is a standalone system thing. And for a lot of people, they move past that. So, here we go, Violet. Hi, Mike. I'm in process of completing A+ through your video course. Also considering master degree in information technology. The course modules. Wallet, I know you're going to get that question to me eventually. Trying to read it, Wallet. You've got a couple of lines here, brother. I'll get it figured out. I'm in process of completing A+ through your video course. I would also consider a master degree of information technology. The course modules, data management, IT. Wallet, if you can get a master's degree in anything, go for it. If you can get a master's degree, get a master's degree. You know, if you got the money and the time, any time you go for an advanced degree is going to be better than just going for some of these low-end certifications. So that I guess I'm going to have to go with that, because I'm still not quite sure what you're asking me. Tolowit, so you're going to give me my John Hammond. This shirt, anybody ever seen Jurassic Park? So that's, Tolowit enjoys this. It's all good, it's all good. Mona Kavausi. Any tips to get ready for the CompTIA A+ test besides your videos? Mona, I just said it. Look, if the only way I know that people will pass, and not only pass, but 99% of the people pass the first try, is that you use videos, you use books, and you use practice questions. In fact, if you had to pick two of these, I'd say go with videos and practice questions. If you're a reader who likes books, then definitely get a book. But you need those three things. And I'll tell you what, today we're going to do, just because I like you, Mona, we're going to have some giveaways today. We're going to give away practice questions. How's that grab you? All right? So that would definitely be what you'd need. Ooh, we got lots of people asking questions today. Taylor Brook, books make me fall asleep. Not my books, man. Hey, Taylor, did you know my personal phone number is in every book that I write? Yep. I've been in like World of Warcraft, and I'm playing, and all of a sudden somebody will show up with a level 1 character because they see my character. You can figure out where my character is in World of Warcraft, and like, are you Mike Myers? It's hilarious. Ever run into a contractor that destroyed a demarc in a refitment of a building space? Yeah, no, I've seen contractors screw up everything you can possibly imagine. I mean, all kinds of screw ups. They never told us until we went to set up our network. Well, I'm just going to call you VW. So VW, when contractors come in and do work for me, they don't get to leave until I test out whatever they've done. You need to have some kind of controls on your environment like that, especially when you have an outside contractor. You've got to test them. Or they have to provide you testing results. Like if I'm dropping a bunch of cables, I'm going to make sure that they send me test results for every cable drop, which better be documented clearly, and also saying in decibels how close they get to Cat 6, 6A, whatever it might be, whatever I'm looking for at any given moment. So actually, I'm not going to yell at the contractor, VW. I'm going to yell at you. Why would you guys let a contractor do work and get out the door without you guys inspecting the work? Naughty tech. I just sat down high, Mike. Well, Peter, I don't know how you feel like sitting down, but if you feel like sitting down high, well, it's all good for you. I'm kidding. Little joke. Choco Taco. LBO. Okay, y'all are talking to each other. Tolowit. I think he is VW Baja Ninja. VW. Oh, he is. He or she or whoever. You're right. I totally didn't get that. So Dave, when you're telling these folks that Raspberry Pi can run VMs, I'm assuming that the Raspberry processor doesn't support the Intel VMX function, but you can tell me. Oh, okay. All righty. So Scott's yelling at me. He says, whenever I mention something, I should mention the timestamp on the questions. I will do that. Oh, Dr. Quinn is asking that. Okay, yeah, I will do that for you. And, oh, God bless it. Once again, I start scrolling slowly, and then all of a sudden it's like, brr, here's a million questions. You know what, guys? I'm already bored. Why don't I give away some practice questions? Anybody want a chance at some practice questions? All right, so here's a couple of rules here. Number one, I'm just going to ask some arbitrary question, and then whoever answers the question right the first time, in the chat, you just type it in, and whoever answers it first wins the prize, okay? This is totally unfair. It's completely arbitrary based on whatever Mike Meyers says is right. But other than that, that's all we have to do. So let's go ahead and do a practice question. You guys ready? Here we go. Let's do an A+ questions for starters. An M.2 drive, the little M.2 drive that you snap in, can either run through the SATA interface or the blank interface. Go. An M.2 drive is either going to run through the SATA interface or the blank. Oh, Scott Schnook. The winner is Scott Schnook, PCIe. Peter Nelson, did you really say PCIe? It's NVMe. All right, so first of all, Scott Shook, you are the winner. Well done. Alice is here. A little slow on the answering there, kid, but glad to see you. Anyway, Scott Shook, you have won your choice of either the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus questions. In order to redeem your prize, all you have to do is contact Kathy Y at TotalSem.com. Scott Jernigan's going to type in Kathy's email address for you. And all you have to do is type it in, send Kathy Y at TotalSem.com, send her an email saying, I won Mike's contest, and I would like access to whatever set of questions. These are our online practice questions, so they're going to be of limited time, but they're always there for you and within that time frame. And you've got them, Scott, so congratulations to Scott. All right. You want to do it again? You guys want to do it again? I bet you guys do them. Do it again. Trying to think of a good question. All right, this is kind of pertains to what we were talking about today. An MBR drive, a master boot record drive. Remember, a drive can either be configured as MBR or as GPT. What's the maximum number of true partitions you can have with an MBR drive? Now, I'm not talking logical partitions. I'm talking legitimate, straight-up partitions. What's the most number of partitions you can have with an MBR drive? All right, so we got lots of winners here. So VW Baja Ninja said 4, and you are right, sir. Well done. So VW Baja Ninja, you have won access to either the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus questions. In order to redeem your free access, all you have to do is send an email to kathyy at TotalSem.com. Scott Jernigan will type it in one more time just to make sure everybody's there. And Edmund T. Card is 128. What is the maximum number of partitions you can have with GPT? It's a huge number. I forget what it is. But anyway, all you have to do to VW Baja Ninja, just send an email to kathyy at TotalSem.com. And all the rest of you guys, don't bother sending her an email because Kathy's smart, all right? And tell her which one of the practice questions you want, and you will get free access. Really, all we need is an email address, and then we'll send you, when you email Kathy, she's going to use your email address, and then she'll put up a temporary password. My nose is exploding today. Why does this happen when I'm on camera? God is cruel. I'm okay. VW, congratulations. Well done, well done, well done, well done. Asgard, I was the first. No, sir. Asgard, I got to go by the order that I see on my list. And remember, people's chats show up differently based on where you are. So for me, sorry, Asgard, but you were not first. Andre, what did you miss? Oh, you missed a lot. So Peter Betzing says, in its most common form, GPT supports 128 partitions. Peter, I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but I thought it was a much bigger number. And I know you said in its most common form. Yeah, everybody has different chats. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Cindy. Are you feeling dumb? Don't feel. These are just, I'm just throwing out arbitrary questions. Don't panic. That's a good cup of coffee. Ah, okay. All right. All right, so anyway. No, Edmund, you were doing great. I was just curious about, it just seemed, I thought that GPT had like 1,000 or 16,000 partitions or some ridiculously high number. But, which is funny because we're going to be talking about MBR and GPT, at least in terms of configuring them through Disk Manager. So, all right. All right, so let's go ahead and cover a couple of the questions we've had. Number one, Brendan S. Had a question about, he was talking to Dave Rush, and he's like, sorry, Brendan, I'm going to put words in your mouth because you're not here to correct me. Anyway, so Brendan's got a little Windows network at home, all right? So let's just pretend like he's got 3 computers. Whether they're wired or wireless means absolutely nothing to me in this particular situation. We'll assume that they're on the same network ID. So they're all on 192.168.4.x, right? And Brendan's question was, I want to share folders, but I don't want to use a home group, which is good because home groups are now deprecated, Brendan. So yeah, you can't use them much anymore. So how can I share folders? And the answer is, Brendan, you got to go back to being a little bit old school, okay? So let's actually go through that process. I'm just opened up a command. I guess we don't even need a command prompt, do we? So, bear with me, I'm just getting a couple things set up here. Okay, so what we're going to do is go through this process. So you want to make some folder that everybody can, on the network, can get access to, right? Okay, we can do that. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to set up my little, so I've got this little setup here, nothing special. I'm going to go down to the bottom. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call it Timmy. Timmy. All right. So now I've got this Timmy called folder that I've just created. And what I want to do is I want to make sure everybody on my network can get a hold of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it. Now you can actually go give access to, but I just don't like that. I don't know why, because I'm old, I guess. I don't have a better answer than that. Can I get that a little bit higher up? Here we go. So what I do is I'll go to Properties. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick look at sharing. And it says not shared. Now, right now, there's a little bit of a problem with it because it's coming right off the C drive, but it's no big deal. I can click on Advanced Sharing. I can say share this folder, and I'll give it a name. I'll call it music, because that's usually the kind of stuff you want to share. Now you'll notice that the maximum number of simultaneous connections is 20. That is by design, because the bottom line is that Microsoft doesn't want you using non-server versions of Windows to connect to more than 20 people. Thanks, Microsoft. All right. Anyway, so we're going to get there. We're going to say music, and we'll hit apply. And hit apply harder. There we go, hit OK. All right, so now what it's shared is I've got a folder called Mike Studio Music. You see that right there? All right. So let me hit OK for, I'm just close this. I'm going to go right back in here. Go to Properties. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go into Security. All right. There's 50 different ways to do exactly the same thing that I'm doing, okay? All I'm trying to do is share a folder that I can put stuff into that anybody can access if they want to get to it. Got the idea? All right. So don't be like, I've got to write down every step Mike's doing. It doesn't matter that much. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the users, right now users can see what's in there. They can read and execute, and that they can also read, which basically means they can access anything in that folder, but they can't really change anything. So Brendan, my question to you is, do you want people to be able to put stuff in here, or do you just want one person to be able to put things in there that other people can like fire up music files or look at Word documents or PPT? I'm going to make your life easier. We're going to give everybody who's a user full control. All right, so I'm just going to go in here. I'm under Users. I'm going to click on Edit. And I'm going to go in, and I'm going to say, anybody who's an authenticated user, I'm going to give them full control. Yeah. Oh, forget that. It's fine. There's a couple of files in the root directory it doesn't want to help on. That's fine. All right. Should have worked. So basically what I've done here, I'm always in trouble. Anytime you try to share a folder right off the C drive, Windows tends to freak out because it sees there's a lot of stuff that's being inherited from the root directory of the C drive. So you can actually get away with this. I could have easily just, like I could have gone to my D drive. I've got a partition. That would have been much easier to share. I could have shared right off my desktop, doing the exact same process. But the bottom line is now any authenticated user on this particular system can now get on there. But here's the trick. You got to remember that the authenticated users are just for this one local computer. There's no domain here, people, all right? Every single computer on your network, Brendan, has its own set of usernames and passwords. So usually, to make lives a little bit easier, in a Windows work group, what we'll end up doing is we will set up one local user and with the same password on every computer. Yes, it's not a good security thing, but the alternative is to try to train people to use this properly. It's almost not worth it. So what I'll do is I'll make a Mike with a password of Fred. It's not really Fred. I'll make a local account on all my Windows computers at home. Mike with a password of Fred. Mike with a password of Fred. Mike with a password of Fred. And then what will happen is that share, which I've now created called Music, which will show up under Network on everybody's file manager, when they click on it, as long as they've already logged in on that computer with Mike with the password of Fred, they're just in the folder. If they by some chance used a different logon on their local computer, it's going to pop up with a little thing going, username and password please, and you just tell everybody, type in Mike, password Fred, hit enter, bonk, and they're in. Get the idea? Remember that Windows uses NTFS permissions, which are strong and powerful and wonderful. But the big thing that we have to be careful about, so I'm kind of answering the question from earlier, when you're running a work group, that means you don't have a domain controller. And that means every single computer has its own usernames and passwords. And this is what most people get in trouble with when they're trying to share stuff in a Windows network, is they forget, or even worse than that, like you'll have, so you're setting up a share and you got a local user named Mike with a password of Fred, and then over on your home theater system, it's Michael with a password of Fred, because you'd set that up 7 months later and forgot. Does it sound like I've actually done this before? I have. And so you need to be real careful. Yes, we are skipping over some good security stuff here. If you really wanted to do it right in a work group, probably the best thing that you'd want to do is set up a group called like music users or something like that. And then you can set it up for anybody who is a local in the group music users. Now you're going to have to set that same group up on every single computer in your network. And that way everybody can log on with their own logon, but you can set the shares up and the NTFS permissions up for anybody in the group music users. Get the idea? So hopefully that answers your question. And I made the mistake of closing all my stuff. It's always fun, like I make some big explanation, and then I was like, well, let me go back to the chat. It's like, and then somebody types in, hopefully no coriander this time. It's like, what are you people talking about when I'm pontificating? I have no idea. Mike looks kind of red today. I'm red. I'm just a red person. At least he said red, not pink. This is just my color, man. What can I say? So I got halfway close, Brendan? Good, good. Taylor Brook, did he just say a Timmy called folder? Did I? I meant a folder called Timmy. You know what I meant. Yeah, I wish I had something exciting in here. It's really just coffee. LBOE, man. LBOE sticks around for the giveaways and then boogies. This is why you guys need to understand why most of the time I save the giveaways towards the end of the thing. Boop, 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 boo. Okay, I was wondering why one of my PCs wasn't showing up on the network under File Explorer. Because you are running into a huge problem that has plagued Windows since the days of the first versions of Windows. Is that if you don't have a domain controller, if you're running a work group, there has to be like the head computer in that work group. And it's called the list manager. And so when you first plug in a bunch of computers, or if you have a bunch of computers and you plug in a new computer, they go through what's called a browser election, which can take up to 45 minutes. Windows is highly inefficient for setting up a bunch of shares. Now, if you just let them run for a while, I've even tried rebooting the systems. That doesn't seem to help. Anyway, especially if they're all the exact same version of Windows. Like if you all got Windows 10 Home, then it takes forever. Because what will happen is you got 4 copies of Windows 10 Home and 1 copy of Windows 10 Professional. The browser election automatically goes to the best version of Windows. And then suddenly it speeds up like crazy. So that would be one thing. The other thing you have to be careful about, Brendan, is that if a particular system is not actually sharing anything, it may or may not show up depending on whether you have SMB versus 137, 138, 139, how many people? Net bias settings up. So if you want to make darn good and sure that a particular system is going to show up under network, just make a share. It doesn't even have to be a good share. Just make it a share and it'll work. Cindy, did you ask a question about sharing a printer? I thought I saw, was it Cindy? I forget. Dan Zackel, can I get a good IT job without the certs? Yeah, Dan, I don't know where you are, okay? If you're here in the United States, then yeah. I mean, you may not get the greatest job on earth. You might be sales guy for Best Buy, But still, they're making $17 an hour. They're not doing too shabby. But you can get a job. Dan, we're going to be talking about this here in a minute as well when we talk about how to get a job. And there might be some things you might want to consider. You don't need any certificate. You don't need any certifications to get an entry-level job in IT. Now, they're going to help. It's going to help you get your foot in the door. But there's no legal requirement. You can just apply, especially if you have some good experience. Can you SSH into a laptop on sleep mode, low-powered mode, or does the laptop need to be open? Kevin, it really depends on the laptop. A lot of laptops, you can do BIOS settings that would allow it to something called wake on LAN, which would wake it up. But even then, a lot of times, especially stuff like Telnet or SSH, where there's a timeout on it, is that it can be frustrating. Because you'll log in, nothing happens. You're like, I can't get on. But if you waited another 45 seconds, try it again, you could probably get on. But that's really on, Kevin, it depends on the laptop. Does the laptop need to be open? Probably does. Most laptops will not kick out of sleep mode if the lid's closed. And then you're not going to get to it. But some do. It just depends. Like Dell's, for example, are pretty good about popping out of wake on LAN mode even if they're closed. HP's aren't. But even that changes depending on what year it is for HP or Dell's. If you have a laptop that you think you're going to need to be remoting into, don't close the lid. Or be willing to sit here and experiment for a while and see what it'll do. Cindy Anstey, why are there 15 Chrome browser processes running in Task Manager when I only have 2 Chrome browsers open? Good question, Cindy. Because that browser, remember, what you're looking at when you're looking at the processes is every little thing that's happening on that page that you happen to be on. So you might have a cycling ad. You might have something that's updating at the bottom. So you're not just having one connection to that web page. You have 5, 6, 7 connections, or 15, or you have 2 browsers open. So that's okay, and that's a good thing to show lots of connections. Try running it in NetStat. It gets a little bit more interesting. But yeah, Cindy, it's okay to have that because you've got lots of stuff running. Let me make sure. 2 Chrome browsers open. So I'm assuming you only have 2 tabs open. Yes, absolutely. There are certain websites like Yahoo, for example. You just open up one Yahoo page and it's going to sit there and go brrr. It's going to have lots of connections because every different part of Yahoo is making its own. It's all within that web page, but it's its own separate connection. It's like different parts of the web page magically update, ads, rotate, stuff like that. So it's okay. Good stuff. Peter Belton, Timmy. Peter, you screwed up, man. You should have typed it Timmah. Alice, Mike, we are simply multitasking. We can talk about, okay. Dan Zackel, I've taken your A+, Net+, and Security Plus. Thanks, Dan. Have you taken any certification tests? Tolowitz, somebody downvoted the stream. Why? Yeah. Free thinking mind, there he is. Mona, what do you recommend for IT students, Mac or Microsoft Windows? Really? Come on, Mona, don't throw them underhanded like that to me. I love Macs, I do. I think they're wonderful computers, and if you like training wheels, and if you like the ghost of Steve Jobs telling you how you should do mail, then Macs are great. I like Macs. Scott Jernigan is a complete Macaholic. I mean, he's kind of, it's all good. I'm a Windows guy. The vast majority of the systems that are out there today, close to 90% are Windows desktop systems in the office, and that's where I go. As Kurt, what was your major in college? Oh, as I've dropped out of so many fine schools, I don't have a college degree. It was the late 1980s, and I was making six figures, and I just never got back to it. Although most of my employees have college degrees. Okay, Sydney. On printer was the best solution for sharing a printer. One set of practice questions, make it a print share. The other was a wireless print server. So, Cindy, a lot of times, and these are something, especially if these are my practice questions, you need to really be careful here because there's going to be nuances between those two questions that make one question makes so wireless on one is correct, while just a print share is correct on the other one. So a lot of times a big criteria for how you share a printer isn't so much the convenient thing you plug it into, but the convenient place you put a printer. Especially today, a lot of these office printers are just physically large. I mean, they're maybe not as bad as they used to be, but they're still pretty big. So a lot of times it's really inconvenient to drag a printer next to Bob in accounting there, because Bob just loves listening to go jig 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 jig. So a lot of times we put it in the hallway or something like that. And pretty much any printer today is going to have wireless capabilities more often than not. And it can be a convenient way to set it up, mainly as a convenience to users more than anything else. There's so much flexibility there today. Scott, I love your Mac OS. Hey, Scott Jernigan. Hey, Scott Jernigan, run Wi-Fi Man on your Apple phone. Apple phones are terrible for a lot of handy utilities. But that's about my only serious complaint. I really do like Macs quite a bit. All the videos we produce are pretty much all produced on Macs. Most of the developing we've done for Total Tester and things like that are on Macs. So Dan, I have IT experience as a technician, currently doing, I have a bachelor's, trying to move back. Here, Dan. All right, Dan, do me a favor. So I'm worried you're about to say I can't get a job. So assuming that you have basic bilateral symmetry and you breathe oxygen, you sound quite qualified. Dan, do me a favor. Dan, please send me an email and say, Mike, why do you so, and hopefully we can help you out a little bit in terms of what sounds to be a job. Job issue. Oh, here we go. Broke right now for the cert test. Dan, honest to God, some with a bachelor's degree and IT experience, you're the alternative way to get jobs. It's for those of us who don't have bachelor's degrees and don't have IT experience is where certs can be the most helpful. So for somebody like you, you might have to throw a lot of resumes out there, but somebody like you who can probably hit it out of the park in a technical interview, you're okay. Don't panic that you don't have certifications. It's okay. not everybody needs my stuff. And right now, it sounds like you probably don't, is my quick guess. Quick guess. Timothy Johnson. Hey, Mike Meyers. Hey, Timothy Johnson. What's your opinion on the CyberArk certification? Nope. Never once heard of it. Let me look that up real quick. CyberArk. Oh, sorry, guys. I'll start mentioning the timestamps. I apologize. I'm going to get that. So let's take a look at CyberArk together real quick. CyberArk. So Scott Jernigan isn't typing at me wildly, which tells me that he doesn't know anything about it either, which is good. I don't see anything in here that's like something you can use. It looks like a company. Well, that answers a lot of questions right there. Timothy, I don't know anything about them, which says a lot. But it doesn't make them bad. It just means that they're not super common. In Performance Manager, there is a counter called memory composition. Oh, sorry. I went to Performance Monitor because that's what I do a lot. We're going to look it up, man. In Performance Manager, under Task Manager. Okay, I'm in Task Manager now. I've clicked on the Performance tab. There is a counter called memory composition. All right, well, the fact I don't instantly know what that is says something, right? Let's take a little peek here, kids. So here's what I got. So I don't see what you're talking about. And more importantly, it's not a term I'm aware of. So even if you get me pointing in the right direction, I'm not sure I will be able to get too far. And let's scroll. Click on memory. Alexander Alter Ego, I do not have a Chromebook. We have one at Total. I've used it a few times. It's okay. Okay, so committed memory is the total memory allocated to the system that is paged that hasn't been dumped yet. Does that work? So if cache is 10.4, 15 on 36 gigabytes, yeah, that would work exactly right. Not composition, committed memory. That's what you meant, right, Andre? Ali Al-Sharif. What's a good place to learn about cabling, tools, etc.? Do you want to learn about network cabling? If you want to learn about network cabling, then, of course, things like the CompTIA Network Plus get you started on it. But if you really want to go deep, you probably want to take a look at something like Bixby. Trying to bring this up so you can see it. So Bixby, B-I-S-C-I, is probably the most recognized certification training for cabling and the tools that you would need for that. So probably that would be the place to go. Wonderful courses. And if you want to start pulling cable for a living, this is the place to go. Bixby. Just reading questions, guys. So Brandon, you do have Wi-Fi Man on your phone, but the problem is Wi-Fi Man on an iPhone doesn't have a lot of the features that Wi-Fi Man would have on an Android device. Like, for example, hang on. All right, so you can do this, and I know it's a little out of focus, but you can get the idea. So you can do this on your iPhone, but what you can't do is this. And it'll actually show me all of the different devices connected on that network. Now, Brandon, if you suddenly tell me you can do that, great. But it's been my understanding, not my experience, that you cannot do that on an iPhone. Okay, finally got to remember, start doing this. You ready? 2050 timestamp. Mr. Kevin, hi. Hi. How many points does 1001 simulation questions carry? Mr. Kevin, we don't know. Nobody has a clue. And we've done a lot of experimentation to try to figure it out, and we don't have any luck. We've done experimentation. The one thing we do have some handle on is that it does look like that the simulations do have partial credit built into them. It's not like you have to go through all the simulation and either get it right or wrong. But that's all we know for sure. CompTIA doesn't advertise this stuff. And come on, you have a test where if you get a 0, you get 100. And if you get 100, you get a 900. So what I'm telling you is that these are not really, you should ignore that. Do the best that you can on the exams. D for diploma. You're going to do fine, especially if you're using my training material. So don't panic about that kind of stuff. Don't get lost in these kind of details. Just study. Learn about technology. You'll be fine. Oh gosh. Web Dev Boot Camp. Oh, before I forget, what antivirus do you recommend? I don't recommend antiviruses. I run, in general, on Windows systems, I just run the built-in Windows antivirus. I have had very, very good success with that. And if something else becomes a little more severe, I go through all kinds of different tools. I don't, can't, and will not recommend a third-party antivirus tool. Because usually I get a bunch of people yelling at me and telling me how wrong I am. Which really means is that they're all pretty much the same. Alexander agrees aggressively with Alice on something. Linux rules. Okay, yeah. Linux rules. Locals rule. All right, so how are we doing on time? All right, we got 3 o'clock, guys. We're already an hour into this. And I did promise about talking about a few more things. So one of the things I do want to talk about today, more than anything else, is how to get a job, an entry-level IT job, okay? Now, first of all, there is no magic answer to this stuff. What I can do is make sure you're going through some certain processes and making sure that you aren't doing some certain things that a lot of people mess themselves up on. And then with that, everybody I've known has always been able to get good jobs. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Asgard wants more giveaways. I'll tell you what, Asgard, let me finish this and I'll do another giveaway just for you. Okay. So number one, the big deal I run into more than anything else is when somebody wants to get a job, is that they limit themselves. They make up stuff that drives me absolutely insane. Number one, it's like, oh, well, I have to have a job here in town, because I'm doing this and that and the other. Well, do you? It's your career we're talking about. Maybe it's time to move to another town. Or maybe it's time to, borrow somebody's car. Or maybe you can lift more than 20 pounds. When people start limiting ahead of time, that bothers me. I'm not the prettiest guy you've ever seen in your life, but when I was in high school, I would always go out with all the pretty girls. And all my buddies would go, oh, they're totally out of your league. Why are you even trying? And it was like, you know what? I'm just going to let these gals choose whether to go out with me or not. I'm not going to self-limit myself. And this is really important. It's because the same thing happens in the job market. This can happen in terms of you're looking at jobs. You're going on Indeed.com and you're looking for work. And you're not qualified. I'm not qualified for any of this. This job's too far away. This job's going to have too many hours. This job's and it's like you start self-limiting yourself so much. Let those companies decide whether they want to hire you or not. Stop limiting yourself. And we're going to develop this as we go through this a little bit more. Number two, make a resume. Make a real resume. We've got an entire video. All we did was talk about how to make a resume. Look it up in the stacks. It's a great video. But make yourself a decent resume. It doesn't even have to be a great resume. Probably needs to be an online resume more than anything else, but you need a resume. And I just see so many people fail so horribly just because they won't make a proper resume. Make a resume. All right, so on the job search, there's a couple of things. Number one, don't forget local connections. Like here in the States, Craigslist is absolutely amazing for jobs. I go to it all the time. Sure, you can go to LinkedIn. You need to go to LinkedIn. You need to go to Indeed, all the more common sites. But don't be afraid to dig into this a little bit more. Also, don't forget that there are temporary sites that are always looking for people. Don't be afraid to dive into those. Don't be afraid to contact companies directly. There's like some big Coca-Cola distributor company on Smith Street. Look them up. Send them a resume. Well, Mike, I don't know if they're hiring or who cares? They're literally right across the street from your house. You go in there. Send them a resume at the least. At the best, knock on their door. HR departments will at least open the door to anybody. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not hiring right now. Hey, no, it's a big deal. Keep that on there. Seriously, just kind of go for something like that. The other thing is remember that you do have experience. Entry-level jobs invariably will say, entry-level job, 1 to 3 years experience. They're doing this on purpose. They're trying to chase away people who are afraid. So don't be afraid. When you start seeing job listings, don't self-limit. Here's another example where self-limiting comes into play. I am so sorry, guys. I don't know why I'm so yawning. If you see a job you like, go for it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to knock on doors. Don't be afraid to make follow-up phone calls. Don't be afraid to get the name of that HR person. Don't be afraid to get the name of that person you have the technical interview on. Show them enthusiasm without being a jerk. You can call almost anybody twice, 3 times, no more than that, as just follow-up. So excited, want to hear, get them going. I love millennials, and I think young people are incredible, and I just love being around them. But the one thing, and this is the only thing that I will slam millennials on, is that they have forgotten how to talk to people face to face. That's like the only complaint I got. You guys are fabulous. You're amazing. I love millennials. You're great. Or post-millennials, whatever you guys are now. But the one thing you can learn from the old geezers is, man, don't be afraid. Make that eye contact. Get in your car. Take the bus. Walk down 6 blocks. Knock on the door. Say hello. Ask them how they're doing. It works. It works more than you could possibly imagine, especially if you're going for companies that are nearby that you would never think ever would hire anybody. And by the way, when I talk about a company like a big Coca-Cola distributor, like, well, I don't have anybody like that near me. Yeah, but I guess you have a gas station. Well, a gas station's never going to hire an IT department. I guarantee you, I absolutely guarantee you that that gas station has computers and somebody somehow is supporting them. So yeah, you're probably right. The gas station isn't going to hire anybody. But then you ask them, you go, hey, if that computer breaks, who do you call? See, now all of a sudden you've got the local mom and pop support companies for your area. Why just get in there and ask? You can do this at all kinds of places. You like going to a bar, having an adult beverage? Go into the bar. Take a look at their PO, the point of sale system. Look what name is on there. Call that name up. Say, hey, man, there's a bunch of bars in this area that are using your point of sale system. Do you guys need any help doing support? They're not going to ask you if you have an A+ certification. They're probably desperate for cheap help. Yeah, they're not going to pay very much. $11, $15, $17 an hour, but they will pay you. Just ask. Don't forget about the government. Man, if there is a government building anywhere in your life, go there with a resume and hand them something. Here in the United States, state and federal agencies hire people like crazy, ridiculous crazy. And you've just got to get in there and figure out who they are and ask. This is what very much, if you're just going to go to Indeed.com and your local hiring sites and you're not going to start knocking on doors, well, fine. Then you start, have a lot of trouble finding a job. No crap. Of course you're going to have trouble finding a job because you're not going to get off your lazy butt and start heading out and start banging on some doors and finding out you probably got a great job right across the street from your apartment because you've already self-limited yourself because you're like, well, I could never work at a Coca-Cola distributor. You're missing out on what might be the coolest job ever. You could be getting everybody Coca-Colas. I'm serious. Google Maps is such an amazing tool, all right? Especially if you're looking for local work. Now, I know with the COVID virus and all that, they're slowing some things down, but I'm also going to tell you the COVID virus has opened up lots of opportunities. There are tons, a lot of off-site help kind of stuff, which was always traditionally either for the U.S., either farmed out to India or farmed out to Mexico, is suddenly popping back here in the States. Yeah, again, it's not going to pay $1 trillion, but they're there. Organizations like Federal Express, Amazon, these people are hiring like crazy. And I'm not just talking about remote jobs. I don't know if I'd want to work for Amazon. I hear they work you to death, but those jobs are available. There are Amazon locations in your town somewhere. Find them. They're ready to hire you. Okay, experience. You have experience. Most people forget that they can pivot, especially like if you've been doing something for 10 years and now you're going to get in IT. What are you going to just forget that 10 years of work you've done in the automotive or healthcare or whatever it is? Of course not. What you're going to do is you're going to pivot that skill set, except now you're going to pivot to IT. I used to be an x-ray technician. Okay, well now you're going to all the local hospitals going, look, I'm doing some IT support. Used to be an x-ray technician, real comfortable with the Hewlett-Packard X259. I can't make this stuff up. You know how to lie. And then, okay, don't lie. And then you pivot that skill. You can look at charitable organizations. You can look at schools. You can get jobs there, usually trivially. And you basically go, look, trying to pick some charitable organization that doesn't get everybody all PC'd up here. goodorganization.com, whatever that is. You just go knock on their door. Go, you guys need any help? The answer is going to be yes. Oh, God, do we need help? All right? And so if you're sitting there, you work, so I can show up, 3 nights a week to help out. They'll be like, oh, you're amazing. And you've got, at the very least, a non-paid internship, although you'd be shocked how many times it's like after showing up about 5 days, they're like, okay, so we can only pay you $8 an hour, but we'll pay you. They'll pay. They will. Okay, so maybe you don't have experience. Remember, don't prejudge yourself. If you see a job you like, if you see a job that makes sense to you, apply for the job. We pulled out some statistics before I went on vacation where most hiring managers, especially for entry-level jobs, are like, yeah, we know, we put all this in here, just maybe something will show up. Maybe they're doing an internal hire, or maybe they don't even have a job at that position. They're just trying to stack up resumes for if a job opens. These things happen. Don't let your opinion stop you from applying for the job you want. You're wrong, okay? If you say to yourself, well, I can never do that job, well, that actually might be right, but the answer is really you're wrong. Apply for the job you want. And then remember, failure is just a step towards success. Yeah, I need to throw in one platitude. For most people looking for an entry-level job, if you're not throwing out 100 resumes to 200 resumes, you're making a big mistake. You need to throw that many out to have any hope of getting a job. That's what it takes. So how's that? Now, while we're talking about this, the other thing I want to talk about is hanging your own shingle. And that is, you can hire yourself out as an independent contractor to do work for people. Well, Mike, no one's going to hire me. Oh, yeah, they will. Oh, yes, they will. They absolutely will. Number one, if you have a certification, trust me when I tell you this, you have a skill. You've got the skill. Now it's a matter of just applying that skill. But it's like, well, what if I mess it up? People mess stuff up all the time. All the time. Well, what if I break something? Am I financially obligated? Yeah, probably. But if you lose data, there's no financial obligation to lost data. When I first started out and I was working on anybody's computer, I go, look, I can't guarantee that I'm not going to trash your system. And if I trash it, I don't have enough, you can't get any money from me. But I'm really cheap, I'm $25 an hour. And most people are like, yeah, cool. In fact, most people will be like, oh, that's a good point. How much does it cost me for you to back up my system? Yes. I love backing up people's systems. It's like free money. Also keep in mind is that you're like, well, what if I don't know what to do? Guys, ,66% of the time I walk up to a system and something's wrong, I don't know what to do. I'm Mike Meyers, popular author. Mike Meyers, alpha geek. I'm supposed to know all this stuff. I don't know this stuff. That's why we have the internet. That's why we have smartphones. We're like, I've never seen this error before in my life. What do I do? And that's how you fix stuff. It's most of the fixing. You should have seen it before we had the internet. It was ugly. But it's not true anymore. Man, you need a driver, just download it. Just download it. Life is so much better than it used to be. So the bottom line is you can always fix stuff just through that. The other big thing is be respectful of the laws in your country. Here in the United States, you don't have to do much. You can do what's called, here in the States, we call it a DBA, doing business as, and you need to get a tax number. And this is, wherever. I mean, if you live in one of those states that have state income tax, well, why? But until then, so you could just get a tax number and start working. You don't need certifications. You don't need to go to school. You don't need nothing at all. And you can start doing this stuff. And again, because you do have a certification, you have some experience on it, you know how to use Google, you can fix most of people's problems. You really can. You have to trust yourself. And especially if you're coming in, right now technicians are somewhere between Here down in Texas, they're at a very rock bottom minimum. They're $60 an hour. So if you can come in at $30 an hour and not completely rob people, you're making some halfway decent change. Get some skills up where you're not afraid to look at a network, where you're not afraid to go into a home router. You're doing great. You can absolutely do that. What you don't want to do is, number one, don't give your skills away. Anybody walks up to you and says, oh, well, Mike, I've got my hard drive or whatever it is, go, I'm $30 an hour. I'm glad to look at it for you for $30 an hour. Doesn't mean you'll fix it. It means you'll look at it for $30 an hour. So number one, don't give it away. Number two, don't buy parts. People are like, oh, I need to have some power supplies or extra hard drives. No, never buy a part. Buy a part on an as-needed basis and, have a good connection. Like here in Houston, it's great because we have a number of absolutely superb hardware suppliers in the Houston area that I can buy very inexpensive hardware on. Number three, don't buy tools. People are like, well, I need to have this tool set. Mike was talking about the iFixit tool set. And then when Mike was talking about the power supply tester, don't buy anything. Get a number 2 screwdriver. Get a regular screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, and then get a little small screwdriver. And that's probably going to cover 93% of anything you're going to need. So don't go buying a bunch of tools. You don't need it. Be legal, but don't be fancy. Now, when I mean that, I was like, do whatever it's within your country that you need to do in order to start doing business. But don't open storefronts. Don't go crazy on advertising. Business cards here in the States are very, very useful. I'd recommend business cards, but that'd be about it. People start buying uniforms and stuff like that. And the last one, when it comes to hanging out your own shingle, is always remember the 3-foot rule. If somebody comes within 3 feet of me, they're going to hear about my business, and they're going to get a business card handed to them. And you will be terrified how quickly business grows for somebody who goes through that process. I'm cooling down, guys. Mellow. I get excited about this stuff. I want you guys to be successful. You can't all be as good looking as Scott Jernigan, but by gosh, we can all be successful. Thomas Robinson, I buy parts tools, now I'm broke. Yeah, don't do that, man. All right. Yes, Peter, it's just coffee. Yeah, I was making a joke earlier about adult beverages, and everybody's like, oh, that's why he's all animated. No, just coffee. I'm high on life. Kevin Lopez, which is easier and more useful to learn, PowerShell or Linux? Wow. Kevin, I wouldn't use those two terms like that. Would you say PowerShell or Bash shell? Easier is probably Bash shell, in my opinion, the Linux shells. More useful to learn really depends what you're working on. If you're working on a lot of Windows systems, I think you'd probably find PowerShell to be pretty convenient. And Kevin, the most interesting thing about any of these shells as a tech is that you're not a programmer. People have already written everything that we could ever think of to use, and then it just becomes a matter of finding the script that you need to do whatever you need to do. So, you don't have to be writing web apps in PowerShell, which I guess you could do. It's just a matter of having enough basic comfort of it, is that you can then go online and go to the Microsoft libraries, for example, the PowerShell, find a shell script that works for you, and then use it. So it's not a programmer. Dr. Quinn, I really am trying to put the time stamps in there. It's just, Scott just brought it up, and then you did too. I'm trying, man. I'll try. Yes, Patricia, get those resumes out. 3:18 p.m. You guys got a little side conversation going on here, which is good. Peter, yes, scripting is not programming. I agree. But Peter, keep in mind when we were talking, he was asking the question, do I want to learn PowerShell or Linux? So to me, what they were asking is, do I want to learn how to use scripting tools so I can get stuff fixed? So that's kind of why I went with where I'm at there. All right, how are we doing on time? Okay, so it's like 3:20. All right, so first of all, remember guys, number one, just because y'all have been kind enough to show up today, we have 50% off on our bundles. Scott, can you put it up, what our deals are this week? And this is the A+, Net Plus bundles and the Security Plus videos plus the practice questions. And absolutely great deals. These are always great deals. These are ridiculous deals. Man, if I were you guys, I'd be hanging out all the time here. Just giving it away. Our prices are insane. Jonathan Fernandez Gomez, how long should I study for the 3:21 p.m. How long should I study for the Network Plus? I have no experience in networking at all. It's hard to say, but if you have no experience, God, I used to write this into the Network Plus. Hang on. So, Jonathan, what I do is at the beginning of all my books, I actually have a template that helps you calculate this. These are some old books, so 120 hours. Put 20% on top of that, so 24. About 144 hours of study would be my recommendation. Elbow, I have a question. Why is there such a price difference between 4K monitors and 4K TVs? And why would you go with a monitor over a TV aside from the size difference? Well, the only difference between a monitor and a TV is that TVs have tuners, right? You get a monitor, you're probably not going to have an F-type connector where you can plug in your cable, whereas you can with a TV. The other thing you're going to be seeing on TVs is a lot of times like Samsung Smart TV and some of these extra features where you can basically, well, you run it as a TV, right? I don't do that. My big monitors, my TVs are not TVs. One of them is actually, I've got an old, is that a Samsung? I don't forget what it is. I got a 53-incher that is a monitor, but I don't have cable or anything. If I'm watching TV, it's going to be, Netflix or HBO Max or Hulu. So I cut the cable 10 years ago. But you're paying for the tuner and some extra features like that. It's really what it boils down to. Kevin Lopez, can we do a Pie Friday about honeypots? I'll make sure Dave Rush hears that. Anthony Colson, Mike, please never change. Did I do something stupid? I do dumb stuff all the time. What is the best way to go about studying for the Net Plus and just coming short on passing the exam? Gregory. Send me an email. Gregory Schubert, 3:22 p.m. We could talk about this in more detail. Usually, I always get nervous when people are like, well, I failed an exam or something. Because, failing exams happen, right? I fail 1/3 of the exams I ever take. Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, it's a time killer. But, it just is. These aren't SATs or O-levels or it's me trying to be international. You just retake them. why are 4K monitors more expensive? Well, I would disagree with that, Elbow, that 4K monitors are more expensive than 4K TVs. But, I mean, the few things that do come up is, I'm going blank, G-Lock, what do we call it? The refresh adjusts for the video cards. Or a lot of times a monitor is going to have, higher end connections, right? But no, I would consider usually in my experience, TVs are more expensive than monitors. I want to build my first PC. I could use a big screen TV as a monitor to save money. I don't have space for a small monitor anyway. Sam Showalter. What are your thoughts on setting up dynamic DNS for a home lab with a UniFi router? Well, UniFi router can handle it fine. That's not the issue. I set up dynamic DNS if there's a reason that I need to get to my router from far away. I got cameras behind the NAT, or I'm trying to access my printer because I want to print something back at the house. Then, then I usually will use dynamic DNS because your IP address changes. I know it doesn't change very often, but it does change. Scott Shook, 3:26 p.m. I took my Net Plus last week and the test crashed with 2 questions left. Oh, Scott, I am so sorry, man. The exam results said delivery failed. Got a case open with Pearson. Any chance you think my answer's saved? Scott, I don't know. We've been hearing really good things about doing the home testing, which I'm assuming what you're talking about here. The only time we heard a really negative result was with a person who obviously was doing naughty things, like trying to plug in thumb drives and stuff like that. So I think you're probably okay. Moses Park, 3:26 p.m. Hey, Mike, I created a local web server with a website. The problem is that computers that connect to the domain name, they will get disconnected from the network with an APIPA. Okay, so don't use a PIPA. Make sure you have a good DHCP server that's running properly. You should. Does the local web server have a fixed IP address? And why are you having a PIPA? You should never have a PIPA. A PIPA means something's broken, let's fix it. So, yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. Why is that? And it happens every time. The IP address goes through. I don't know what you mean when you say the IP address goes through. But Moses, this is a moot point. You've gotten a PIPA address, which means you've got troubles. You need to either go to static addresses for everything, set up a proper DHCP server, but something is. Oh. Scott Shook, Scott Shook, 3:27 p.m. It was in a testing center. Man, Scott, why did you even leave, dude? I would have been yelling at the administrator. I'd be like, what the heck? In this particular case, Scott, it doesn't look like it would be your fault. Look, I don't have all the details of what happened with you, man, but I would not have left the testing center. I would have been screaming at people. I would have been ugly. I'm to set up a free PBX server and as a project to learn more about networking and enterprise VoIP. Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, I was 3:28 p.m. Sam, I'm confusing Sam Showalter with Scott Shook. Ugh. Sorry. I'm not sure why you would need dynamic DNS with a VoIP system. Oh, yeah, I do. Sure, I do. Yes, use dynamic DNS. And don't ask me which one to use. I like them all. Honestly, these days, I've been getting so many ASUS routers that I've been using the built-in ASUS dynamic DNS service, and honestly, it works like a champ. Here you go, N. Garrett. I work for the government, and we need techs all the time. N. Garrett, put your phone number there so we can all call you and ask for jobs. I'm kidding. Don't do that. All right, it's 3:30. Let's give some stuff away. You guys ready for more giveaways? Let's give things away. What do we want to give away? All right, all we're going to be giving away, guys, are practice questions. But then it's up to me to think of a good question. And again, guys, if my question is bad and somebody catches me, tough. Sorry. I'm going to double check something here. All right. All right, so let's have a good, you guys ready for a practice question? Here we go. I'm not doing any books today, guys. I'm just giving away practice questions. You guys ready? What is the port number for remote desktop protocol? What is the port number for RDP? Wow. Okay, that was clearly way too easy of a question. All right, so the winner is, according to me, Moses Park. Moses Park, congratulations. You've won from the Spiegel Catalog, Chicago 60609. All right, anyway, Moses, you win either the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus practice questions. In order to secure your prize, you have to contact Kathy Yale in our office. Her email address is kathyy@total7.com. Scott Jernigan will type that in for you so that you can contact her. And all you have to do, Moses, is you contact Kathy. You go, I won Mike's contest on Wednesday, and I would like the Net Plus practice. I would like access to the Net Plus questions. You don't have to type it in exact. Just get halfway close, and Kathy will figure it out. All right, I'm just seeing you guys are like, yeah, 3:38 p.m. Moses Park. I have almost all of them already. Tolowitz like, Moses Park, give it away to the next guy. It's all right. No. He won fair and square. He won fair and square. So let's do it again. How about let's have another competition? Here we go. What would be fun to talk about? You guys ready? Here we go. I'm in an A+ kind of mood today. You guys ready? So today's question is going to be, man, I hope I'm right. Okay, hold on. God, I better get this one right. HDMI is a wonderful video connection for high definition video. Name 2 other types of physical video connections that could comfortably support 1080p or better. I need you to name 2. Sam Showalter. Yeah, I'm going to give it. Okay, so Sam Showalter, DisplayPort and DVI. Sam, you are the winner of either the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus product. Sam, in order to secure your prize, all you have to do is contact Kathy Y at TotalSim.com. And Scott Jernigan will put that up for you. And USB-C. Ooh, Choco Taco. I almost want to give you a, yeah, it's not, yeah, USB-C. Yep, absolutely. So all you have to do is send Kathy Yale an email. Scott Jernigan will put that back up to you one more time. There you go, Sam. Send Kathy Y an email and say which one, either the A+, Net Plus, or Security Plus, practice questions that you want. Keep in mind, all these practice questions are for a limited time. I believe it's 60 days, but I can't even guarantee that. But it's free, so what the heck? Jump all over that, people. All right. All right, so I got a couple of questions I missed earlier. I'm going to re-mention these. Oh goodness, some of these are so far back I'm almost embarrassed. At 2:53 p.m., Kevin Lopez, our Cloud Plus and cybersecurity analyst held. Yeah, we answered that one. I think we did. Yeah, we answered that one. Well, I think we're okay. All right, guys. So how are we looking here? Let me double check. I've not seen if Scott Jernigan's yelling at me later. G-Sync and FreeSync. God, sorry, Scott. That's exactly what it was. I forgot. All right. So how are we doing on time? It's only about 3:37. All right, guys. Any more questions for me? What do we got? What do we got? Dan Zackall, have you seen 3:36 p.m.? Have you seen OpenVAS vulnerability scanner? No, maybe, kind of. Hang on. Yeah, I have seen it. It's good. It's good. It's good. Just looking for questions, guys. 3:37 p.m. Matt H. How long do you plan on continuing these Q&A sessions? I think they're great. I don't know, Matt. We're just kind of going for it here, dude. I mean, we started these about 4 months ago. I forget. Just because so many people got left out in the cold because of the corona, I just felt bad. I didn't want to leave them hanging, you know. For a while. For a few more months for sure. Jonathan Fernandez Gomez, how do I study IT certification if my first language is not English? I mean, there is not study materials for Spanish for the Network Plus. There isn't? Un momento, por favor. German, Japanese, Net Plus. Hang on, I'm checking. For Net Plus, right? Just trying to pull up an ISBN for you, man. Oh, no, I'm lying. Lying, never mind. It is amazing to me, Kevin, how hard. Is it Kevin? Jonathan, sorry, man. So I write my books through McGraw-Hill, and it's just really hard to get Spanish translations because they can't sell them. So, hang on a minute. Jack. Kitty. Everything's good. Everything's fine. We're good. Don't worry about it. We're good. Everybody saw the cat and they just want to see him. So we're all good. It's hard to find Spanish translations. It is difficult. You know what? Jonathan, give me contact me. Send me an email. I got somebody over at CompTIA I would like to have you talk to because this is always a challenge. So you got my email address? Jonathan, send me an email. Let's see if I can help you out. Although your English is a lot better than my Spanish. Yo tengo un mustacho muy guapo. Let's take a look. Amin Atit, 3:38 p.m. He thinks I'm awesome. Thank you, sir. Thomas Robinson, I bought a printer for $53. Yeah, Thomas. Wait till you have to pay for the consumables, brother. Don Zakal, what was my first IT position? Systems analyst, sort of. Kevin Lopez, can you store more than one OS image in the same hard drive? Sure. Does the BIOS know which one you want to boot? No. Usually I end up having to use a boot manager, Kevin, which would, remember when we're I should have, I don't have time. I messed up. I was supposed to talk about hard drives today. I messed it up. 3:39 p.m. Kevin Lopez, can you store more than one OS image on the same hard drive? Yeah, you can. Remember, the whole idea behind partitions is that you could have multiple partitions, and then you set one or the other as a boot partition. So if you're going back 20 years ago, we'd use a boot manager. But today, in all honesty, Kevin, if you wanted to have multiple operating systems on the same hard drive, boot up to one operating system, probably Windows, and then use a virtual machine. Install that copy of Linux into a VM. You need to know VM for A+, Net+, and Security Plus anyway. But yeah, get like a VirtualBox or one of those tools. The old dual boot days, in my opinion, are over. Just boot to whatever OS you want. Fire up VirtualBox or whatever virtual machine you want to use. Install Linux in there, assuming you have a Windows, and life is good. Yeah, BIOSes are stupid, Kevin. They're only going to be able to boot from on the first drive on the first partition. Andrew Hutz, Mike, do you play Elder Scrolls games? No, never did. And Garrett, what are some good computer tech repair sites? Good computer tech repair sites? None. Dell, Hewlett Packard. In all probability, those would be the places I'd be going to. Ars Technica's not bad. Tom's Hardware isn't bad. Stuff like that. But, in general, yeah, that's all I got there. And Garrett, sorry. Kevin Lopez. Also, does a Pi have a BIOS? Yeah, pretty much. Yes. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, we only got a few more minutes here, so let's zero in on some more. Vibe Baja Ninja, those are some slick hand drums. Will you play us something? Really? All right, don't laugh at me, guys. That's all I got. That's it. I'm rusty. You should see Scott Jernigan. He's a much better drummer than I am. That's actually not saying that much for Scott Jernigan. Sam Showalter, 3:41 p.m. I've been working in IT since sophomore year of high school, and I'm currently a junior in college, so I have a lot of experience with IT and help desk. Is it worth it to get A+? I'm a net admin now. Sam, probably no. To be honest with you, I'd look towards net plus and maybe some security stuff. But in all honesty, Sam, I think you're in good shape, man. You got good experience, and you've got a lot of stuff you can show on your resume. I'd say probably not. Now, I would back up from that if you said, because right now you say I'm a net admin, that could mean a lot of things, right? If you're still swapping out hard drives and updating Windows, you might want to take a look at an A+, but generally, probably not. Elbow, send the book to Tolwood. He'll have it translated in 5 minutes. I would love to do that. It's a legal issue. McGraw-Hill is just ridiculous. And no offense, but most of Spanish-speaking countries don't really do well with tech books. Where, if one of you guys can prove me different, go for it. Heck, it doesn't even have to be a Spanish country. Here in Texas, I got a bunch of kids down on the border who I would kill to give them a couple of good technical books in Espanol. But yeah, McGraw-Hill's a real pain in the butt about it. We should get McGraw-Hill on here. Let you guys yell at him. Hey, Laura, you're on the mic, babe. Andre, you can make a cat bark like a dog, pour gasoline. Yeah. Tolwood, I am fluent in over 6 million forms of communication. All right, you guys are just being silly now. For someone that is new into IT after getting A+, would it be worth getting more certs for a job? Oh, come on, Adam. Everybody, let's do it all together. You guys ready? Adam, number 1, go get a job. Go get a job. Guys, you cannot look at, I need to get certifications before I get a job. No. You get a lousy entry-level job, and then you get some experience, and you get a couple of certs under your belt. Why do I think they feel like I'm Adam Sandler? And then certifications are not something that unemployed people should be going for. Certifications are a night and weekend thing. Certifications is something you go for because your current job blows beats and you want a better job. So go get a job. It's literally all we've been talking about for 40 minutes was talking about how to get a job in IT. Don't worry about it, man. I'm not trying to beat up on you too much there, but a lot of people do that, but you need to go for it. So go get a job, Adam. There you go. Poor guy. He just logged in today. Hey, how do I get a job? And all of a sudden it's like, you guys, I almost feel like I should just open up a Discord channel, let y'all Tolwood and Elbow and yeah. I gotta warn you, Mona, you're gonna become one of us now, kid. You're stuck. You're going to be like poor Alice here, and you'll be like, I used to be a normal person, and then I started showing up for Mike Myers chats, and now I'm a nerd. You are the most 346 from VW Baja Ninja. You are the most amazing. I'm sorry, guys. Let me say this a little bit louder and slower. You, Mike Meyers, are the most amazing IT person ever. Thank you for all you do and who you are. Well, you are so welcome, young man. No, but seriously, thank you. Yeah, Patricia, you're stuck with us too. The problem is we have so few gals in technology that a couple of you gals show up on this channel. We're like, please never leave. Please don't go. Undirect. Hey, Mike. Hey, Undirect 347. E. White. A PIES device bias is called a PIAS. Okay, either you're being very funny or you're being accurate or you're being both. Is it a PIAS? No, it can't really be. E. White, are you goofing with us? Everybody said, get a job, get a job, get a job. Okay. Emerson Jose, Mike, oh man, 349, is it that late? Oh my goodness, we're almost out of chime here, kids. Thank you, though. Mike, what is your next live video? Mona, I'm online every Monday and Wednesday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Also do keep in mind that Dave Rush, who's acting as a monitor, or what's the proper term, he does his Friday Raspberry Pis. Now keep in mind, even if you're not a huge Raspberry Pi fan, the Raspberry Pi can be an incredibly powerful and very cheap tool for those of us who are studying for CompTIA certifications. So Dave kind of balances between both of those worlds, between the coolness of Raspberry Pi as a platform versus, oh, I don't have a lot of money and I need to practice doing something, and a Raspberry Pi can be a wonderful thing. So Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays here at the Total Seminars channel, you can either get me or Dave Rush. And of course, there's always Scott Jernigan and Tolowit and a cast of thousands and Andre and lots of fun people. Grown Man 284, 351. It's hard to find an entry-level job. It is hard. It's very hard. But you look at it as part of what you got to do. So, Grown Man 284, I'm assuming you were here when we had a big talk about getting jobs today. And, hopefully you have some luck. Here's the one thing I will throw out to you guys. Any of you guys who are legitimately out there trying to find a job who can't get work, send me an email. You're probably not going to like what I have to say back, but I will give you some ideas. And I work with people, and I can pretty much get almost anybody a job. I can't guarantee I can get you a job. A poor guy in Palestine or something like that, I really wasn't able to help him out. But send me an email, and I will coach you through this a little bit. But I can't make any guarantees, but I can help. I can definitely help. So Grown Man 284, that was for you, brother. Ulises Ferrer, I'm trying to get an IT job here in Florida. Florida's got tons of work. Where are you in Florida? Are you like in some scary part like Tallahassee? Well, even Tallahassee would be good. So anybody's in Miami or Tampa Bay right now? Or, are you in some weird like Port St. Yeah, I know Florida, all right? But at least it's the same deal for you, man. I sent you that, if you really, really can't find work, give me some, I can give you some ideas. VW Baja Ninja, later, man. Oh, God, David Rush at 351, pious attempted humor. Man, he totally had me hooked on that one. All right, we're getting right towards the end here. Here's some swarthy character named Ian Camacho. Ian Camacho? I'm just goofing, guys. We just hired Ian. Ian's going to be working as an editor and general smart nerd here at Total Seminars. And Ian, it's good to see you on board here, guys. All right. Man, at least you're in Tampa. Great town. I love Tampa. All right. All right, well, listen, guys. Swarthy is his middle name. All right, guys, listen, I've got to let go a couple minutes early today. Listen, keep in mind, we got Dave Rush is going to be on next Friday at 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. I forgot, Dave, can you tell us what the topic is for this week for raspberries? I did not get into GPT and MBR. I promise we'll get into those things. I would like whoever asked the initial question, like, what do I want to know about dynamic? And we also didn't do domains versus workgroups. So I think we have a really good episode on that. In fact, I'm going to do that. We have one, if not two, great episodes that discuss workgroups versus domains and what that really means. So whoever had asked that question, please, please, please go through the list of videos, find those. They're clearly marked, and then that should be able to work for you really, really well. Give that a try. I'm not against doing basic versus dynamic and GPT versus MBR, but I really want some detailed questions. Something more than what is it, and we can do that kind of stuff. That's right, David Russ, September 25th, Dr. Aben Upton. He literally, the guy who invented the Raspberry Pi is going to be on this channel talking about Raspberry Pis, and that's going to be on September 25th. So that ought to be a lot of fun. And until then, guys, I'm going to be signing off. So this is your little Uncle Mikey saying good night, kids. Good night.